The maximum combined government retirement income in Canada in 2026 is $36,792, guaranteed and indexed to inflation for life. But that number should mean almost nothing to you because none of us will ever be able to qualify for the maximum amount. So then what are you getting in retirement? Let's break that down in real numbers, explain who qualifies for what, and walk you through 3 realistic scenarios so you can see where you might land. Hi, I'm Arman, a CPA in Canada who loves to talk about money, investments, and taxes. If you are interested in any of these topics, why not subscribe to the channel? Before we get into the specific numbers, I need you to set your expectations correctly. We have 3 sources of retirement income from the government: CPP, OAS, and GIS. These were not designed to fund your entire retirement. These programs exist to provide a foundation, a safety net that keeps you from having nothing. If you have worked a solid career, contributed to CPP, and lived in Canada most of your adult life, these programs will give you some meaningful money, but it is not going to be enough to maintain most people's lifestyle without additional savings. So now, let me show you exactly what you are getting in 2026 for each of these. So let's start with the bigger one, the Canada Pension Plan, which is the largest piece of government retirement income for most Canadians. It is based entirely on your contributions during your working years. The more you earned and the longer you contributed, the more you get back. In 2026, the maximum CPP retirement pension at age 65 is $1,507 per month. That works out to be $18,092 per year. But here's the reality. The average CPP payment for new retirees is only around $831 per month. That is barely half the maximum. So why the gap? Because getting the maximum requires nearly 39 years of contributions at or near the maximum pensionable earnings. Most people do not have that. You might have started working later. You might have had years of part-time work or lower income in your 20s. You might have taken time off for school, kids, health, or career changes. There is a dropout provision which helps. CPP automatically removes your lowest earning 17% of years from the calculation. So if you contributed from 18 to 65 years of age, that is about 8 years of bad earnings that just disappear. There's also a child rearing provision if you were home with your young children. But even with those provisions, most Canadians land somewhere between $800 and $1,200 per month, which is still far lower than the maximum available limit. I have a full video explaining CPP contribution, calculations, and when to take your benefits. Those go much deeper than I can explain in this video. I will link those in the description below and you can have a look. For now, check your My Service Canada account. Look at your actual benefit estimates based on your real contribution history. That number is far more useful than any maximum on average I can give you in this video. So let's go to old age security. OAS works completely different from CPP. It has nothing to do with your work history or contributions. It is based purely on how long you have lived in Canada as an adult. If you have lived in Canada for at least 40 years after turning 18, you qualify for the full OAS pension. In January to March 2026, that maximum is $742 per month if you are between 65 and 74. But if you are older than 75, this number jumps to $816 per month because of a permanent 10% increase that the government added back in 2022. If you have lived in Canada for less than 40 years, you get a proportional amount. 20 years of residency gets you 50% of the maximum, 30 years gets you 75%. The math is straightforward. You need at least 10 years of Canadian residency after age 18 to qualify for any OAS at all. So here's where OAS gets tricky for higher income retirees. There's a clawback. If your net income in retirement exceeds $95,323, you start losing your OAS. The government takes back 15 cents for every dollar above that threshold. If your income hits $154,708, your OAS disappears entirely for those 75 and older. The upper threshold is slightly higher at $160,000, but that clawback exists for you as well. So this clawback is why some retirees with large RRSPs or CPPs end up getting little or no OAS at all. For most Canadians with moderate retirement income, OAS adds about $700 to $800 per month through their government benefits. Not life-changing, but not nothing either. So let's move on to the next one, the Guaranteed Income Supplement or GIS. That is the program most people forget about, or they assume that it does not apply to them. But GIS is critical for low-income retirees, and the amounts are surprisingly large. GIS is a top-up for OAS recipients with low income. You must already be receiving OAS to qualify. It is entirely income tested, which means your benefit shrinks if your income rises. So in 2026, the maximum GIS for a single person is $1,108. But for GIS, the income thresholds are tight. To get any GIS as a single person, your annual income from sources other than OAS must be below $22,488. To get the maximum GIS, your income needs to be below roughly $10,256. And here's the key detail. OAS itself does not count as income for GIS purposes, neither does the first $5,000 of employment income. But CPP does count, RRSP withdrawals count, RRIF withdrawals count, pension incomes count. So this creates an interesting situation then. A retiree with a high CPP pension might get zero GIS. A retiree with a low CPP pension might get substantial GIS. The total government income end up similar, but the composition is different for different people. GIS is also why the advice to delay CPP is complicated for low-income seniors. If you delay CPP and live on GIS in the meantime, you might actually end up ahead, but the math is complex and depends on your specific situation. For most people watching this video, GIS probably does not apply. If you have a solid RRSP savings or a workplace pension, your retirement income will likely exceed the income thresholds. But if you are approaching retirement with limited savings and a modest CPP, absolutely check whether you qualify for GIS or not. The money is significant. So let me put all these three programs together with some realistic examples. These are not extreme cases. These are normal Canadians with normal work histories. Scenario 1, Maria is 65 years old. She worked part-time for most of her career while raising her family. She lived in Canada her entire adult life. Her CPP benefit is $650 per month. Because of her limited contribution history, Maria then qualifies for the full OAS at $72 per month. Because her total income is low, she also qualifies for a partial GIS of about $600 per month. So Maria's total government retirement income becomes approximately $1,992 per month or $23,904 per year. She has almost no personal savings, but between CPP, OAS and GIS, she has a livable income. Not comfortable, but survivable. Scenario 2, David. David is also 65 years old. He worked a solid middle class career, earning around $70,000 to $80,000 for most of his working years. He lived in Canada his whole life. So David's CPP benefit is $1,150 per month. He qualifies for the full OAS at $742 per month. His income is too high for GIS, so no GIS for him. David's total government retirement income is approximately $1,892 per month or $22,704 per year. Notice that David actually receives slightly less than Maria from government programs, even though he earned far more during his career. This is because Maria qualifies for GIS and David does not. The system is designed to provide a similar floor for everyone. David's advantage is that he also has $400,000 in his RRSP. His total retirement income will be much higher than Maria's once he starts drawing from his actual savings as well. Scenario 3, Susan. Susan is 67 years old. She had a successful career, earning at or near maximum pensionable earnings for most of her working life. She lived in Canada her entire adult life and delayed her CPP until age 67. So Susan's CPP benefit is $1,680 per month because she delayed past 65 years, gaining that 0.7% increase for each additional month. She qualifies for the full OAS at $742 per month. Her income is far too high for GIS. So Susan's total government retirement income becomes approximately $2,422 per month or $29,064 per year. Susan also has $800,000 in combined RRSP and TFSA savings. She might even face some OAS clawbacks depending on how she structures her withdrawals. So these were the three realistic examples. So let's just quickly cover the things that can shrink your government benefits. CPP is reduced if you take it before 65 years. The reduction is $0.6 per month, which adds up to 36% if you start at exactly age 60. That reduction is permanent. Your lower payment stays lower for life. OAS is clawed back at higher incomes. If your net income exceeds $95,000, you start losing your OAS at a rate of 15% of the excess. This catches people off guard when they have large RRSP withdrawals or sell investments with big capital gains. GIS is extremely sensitive to income. For every dollar of income you have above the exemptions, your GIS drops by roughly 50 cents. Even modest RRSP withdrawals can significantly reduce or eliminate your GIS. If you are a low-income retiree, be very careful about how you structure your income. Not living in Canada long enough reduces your OAS. If you immigrated later in life or spent significant time abroad, you might only qualify for partial OAS. To receive the full benefit, you have to be in Canada for 40 years of your adult life. So let me leave you with one clear takeaway. CPP, OAS and GIS together will give most Canadians somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 per year in retirement income. That is your foundation. But if you want to maintain anything close to your working lifestyle, you need to build on top of that foundation yourself. If you are earning $80,000 before retirement and you want to replace 70% of that income, you need about $56,000 per year. Government programs might cover $25,000 of that, but the remaining $31,000 has to come from your own savings. My videos on this channel can definitely help you with that, so why not subscribe? And if this video helped you understand your retirement income better, the next two videos on the screen will help you build the rest of that retirement yourself. Check them out and I will see you in the next one.